What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Collective MMA channel, and welcome to my new series, 5 MMA Bets in just 10 minutes. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it. With our first bet, we have a two-leg parlay, Magomed Zainukov, aka John Pork, for those of you who know, and Sam Patterson. You put these two together, gets you about minus 150 odds. Yeah, Zainukov, it's his UFC debut. Just had a big win on the Contender Series a few months back. And overall, I mean, this guy, very crafty striker, very good Muay Thai, has a lot of volume out there. And yeah, his opponent, Damien, stepping in here, making his UFC debut. I think it's just going to be a tall ask for him. I don't think he's fought anyone near the level of Zainukov in his career so far. And yeah, the level of competition that Damien has fought hasn't been anything, too crazy. And then second leg here, I like Sam Patterson. I've bet on this guy a number of times, cashed with him as a big underdog against Danny Barlow. This guy, his first fight in the UFC at lightweight, he got clipped, got put out, but ever since he moved up to 170, he's had a ton of success. Was on a nice little winning streak there before he ran into Michael Venom Page, and that fight didn't quite go his way. But overall, I mean, this is a totally different matchup. Ponzinibbio is an older, crafty vet type guy. He's been in some wars, and he's going to come at Patterson. He's going to try to knock out Patterson. And in the process, I think Patterson's either going to put this dude out, whether it's a TKO finish or a club and sub. So, yeah, overall, I see both. I see Patterson getting a finish, and I see Zainukov either getting a late finish or winning a unanimous decision. So at minus 150, I like this parlay a lot. Let's keep on moving to the next bet. We have Dustin Jacoby on the money line. Minus 150 for this one as well. Watching the tape on this fight and watching his opponent, Muhammad Saeed, I can't believe the price on this one. I think there's just a lot of value here. Yeah, I mean, Jacoby's been in there with some very quality names in the UFC, including Dominic Reyes, Azamat Mirzakhanov, and he's got some quality wins as well. This guy is a very seasoned kickboxer, was a glory kickboxer, and just has a lot more experience. And Muhammad Saeed, like just watching his tape, he reminds me a little bit of Shara Magomedov. But honestly, one thing I noticed too is just like he doesn't really look like a 205er to me. He kind of looks like a middleweight. And I just think that he's going to be in a world of trouble striking with Jacoby. He's not going to have anything that Jacoby hasn't seen before. And yeah, I think it could be a very tough fight here. I see Jacoby ending up, putting a couple good shots on Saeed, putting him down, and getting out of here with a KO or TKO finish. So at minus 150, I think this is a very quality money line bet. We'll move on to the next one. Number 3, we got the over 2.5 rounds in the Kuniev and Tyrell Fortune fight. I like this for a couple different reasons. Like, both of these guys are okay strikers, but they're both looking to implement a heavy wrestling and grappling style. Yeah, including cage pushing, which, bleeds a lot of the clock and leads to these fights going to a decision and going all 3 rounds. So, yeah, I think it could be, both guys are going to have minutes up against the cage, try and take each other down. I'm not sure if either guy's going to have a ton of success getting the fight to the mat, but I just think, the combination of the grappling and the wrestling and the cage pushing, all that points towards this fight going over. So at minus 138, I think this one's a quality bet. And yeah, in Fortune's last fight against Ty Burr, which was his UFC debut, he took on short notice. That fight went to decision. In the first round, he did a lot of cage pushing and, landed some good shots on the feet and everything like that. But then he sort of slowed down a bit more as the fight went on. And yeah, I mean, in Kuniev's last fight as well, going up against Jailton Almeida, he had a lot of cage pushing. That fight was a stinker. And even in, Kuniev's first fight in the UFC, which was against Curtis Blades, that fight also went to decision and, was a bit more of a stinker. There was some moments of striking, but a lot of, cage pushing and grappling. So overall, I just think, yeah, there's a lot of value here on this over. So I think this would be a quality bet for this weekend as well. Moving on to our next bet, we have Abdul Hussein to win by finish at minus 143. I like this one a lot too. Hussein, he's got a lot of talent. He's an up and coming prospect, and he can get the fight done on the feet or on the mat. In his last fight, he knocked out Tyson Nam in pretty impressive fashion, and he also has some submissions on his record as well. And on the Cody Gibson side, like this dude is the definition of a crafty vet. Like he's been a quality underdog. He's a guy that cashes as an underdog the last couple of years, but at a certain point, the wheels start to fall off a little bit. And I think that's what we've been seeing over the last couple fights with Gibson. In his second last fight, which was a year and 4 months ago against Blackshear, he, looks pretty good in the first round. But then in the second round ends up getting taken down and ends up losing by Kimura. And then in his most recent fight, he got starched immediately in round 1 and got put out bad. And I just think, he's been in some wars and taken a lot of damage. And I just think, this is a clear spot. You bring in a young prospect, he comes in, shows out, gets a finish on the first fight of the card. And I think that's a good way to kick things off in Abu Dhabi. So yeah, I like Hussein here by finish -143. I think that there's some good value on that one. Moving on to our 5th bet. This one is coming from PFL Washington DC. This one is the over 1.5 in the Bryce Meredith versus Michael Sear fight. I think this one's pretty interesting, and I was kind of surprised that the over 1.5 was only -140. Bryce Meredith, like, he is a wrestler first. He's going to look to take the fight to the mat. He doesn't have the best jiu-jitsu. Like, he has finished some fights in his career, but typically when he fights a guy who, is a higher level opponent, is a higher level grappler, typically those fights tend to go longer. And yeah, he's an okay striker. I think both guys match up fairly similar in the striking. I do favor Sear a little bit. I think he's going to be a little bit more technical, whereas Meredith kind of likes to blitz forward and put combinations together. But yeah, ultimately, Meredith typically is striking to open up his takedowns. And yeah, in Sear's last fight, he was main eventing. And yeah, like that was a pretty close fight. There was, moments he had on the feet and in the grappling. And yeah, I mean, his opponent, took him down a couple times, Tanner, and he is, is very active from his back. And overall, I mean, yeah, he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's, been doing it for a long time. He actually, in his last 5 fights, he has 2 wins by twister and 2 wins by triangle choke. So that kind of, shows you that this guy is pretty versatile and can do some pretty unique submissions. So yeah, I see this fight, Meredith's going to look to take this fight down to the mat. And I think, yeah, Sear is going to be active off his back, throwing up submissions, looking for sweeps. And I could see this fight honestly turning into a little bit more of a stinker. Yeah, I think on the feet, it's going to be close. Like Meredith could land some shots. Like Sear does get hit a little bit, but he does have a pretty good chin from what I've seen. And yeah, overall, I just think it's going to be a lot of grappling, a lot of takedowns, a lot of back and forth, transition sequences in the grappling. So I think there's a lot of value here on the over 1.5. So that is the 5th and final bet. So we'll do a quick recap. For the first bet, we got a 2-leg parlay, Zainakov and Sam Patterson at -150. Second bet, we have Dustin Jacoby straight up on the money line at -150. The third bet, we have Kuniev versus Fortune, the over 2.5 at -138. Number 4, we got Abdul Hussein to win inside the distance or to win by finish, depending on what app or book you're using. Sometimes they're called different things, but you can get that at about -143. And the 5th and final one, we have Bryce Meredith versus Michael Sear, the over 1.5, and that is from PFL Washington DC. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you guys like this style of video. If you guys want me to keep doing it, I'm more than happy to continue this series for you guys. So yeah, overall, hit the subscribe, hit the like, and yeah, drop a comment, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.